Today on Investigate TV Plus.
We just all stood up there on the road and just watched it burn to ashes.
Families flee as wildfires devastate communities.
What smart sensors like this will learn is what does the air feel like here and what does an anomaly look like.
From warning systems to weather monitoring, we'll show you the new tools used to help fight what experts call an escalating threat.
Then some children forced to cross state lines for mental health care, and we examine how it could impact their treatment.
They want the family involved, and I'm like, well, I could go on there and see them, but I'm 4 states away, and I mean, it's not like I can just up and walk out.
Plus, the roadblocks families face as they try to get help closer to home.
And a simple machine spoke to a man in Alaska, inspiring him to overcome any obstacle.
Life's all about balance, and you just keep moving forward.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Across the planet, wildfires are intensifying. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. While some are caused by humans, climate change, which includes extended drought and persistent heat, has helped to set the stage for destructive wildfire seasons.
In July 2024, the Park Fire in Northern California became the 4th largest in state history, burning nearly 500,000 acres and 700 homes in just 3 days. Experts say it serves as a stark reminder of how natural disasters are upending lives and inflicting billions of dollars in damage.
We take an in-depth look at this climate crisis and the new technology being used to combat it.
I just wish my house was still there.
A familiar road home on the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation in Arizona has become unrecognizable for Sheila Patton.
We just all stood up there on the road and just watched it burn to ashes.
Patton's parents passed the property down to her.
Just lost everything. We just have the clothes what we have on our back, that's it.
In July of 2024, nearly 60 years of memories reduced to rubble by a wildfire that ripped through more than 2,000 acres and took more than a dozen homes with it.
And I just can't sleep at night. I just see the fire, the smoke every time I close my eyes.
This pain and loss is sadly not unique.
And it's heartbreaking for everybody.
Across the country, more Americans are encountering the tragic realities of wildfires. In 2023, the vivid, wide-reaching impacts of extreme fires were on display, seen by millions when smoke from massive wildfires in Canada drifted down into the United States.
Everybody's got to evacuate.
Followed by the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century that ravaged the Hawaiian island of Maui, devastating the historic town of Lahaina and killing more than 100 people. According to a recent UN report, climate change and land use change are projected to make wildfires more frequent and intense, with a global increase of extreme fires of up to 14% by 2030 and 50% by the end of the century. Preventative measures are being taken as far north as Alaska.
We have this old house, it's all wood.
Here in Anchorage is where Patricia Peach and her husband have lived in their home for nearly 50 years.
How worried about wildfires are you?
Oh, very. Yes. When it's dry, after a while, you can sense it.
We are embedded in the wildland-urban interface.
Alaska's increasing wildfire threat is alarming. According to the Arctic Research Center, from 2000 to 2020, 2.5 times more acres in the state burned than the previous 20 years. Officials here think these small black boxes could bring much-needed firefighting support. This system is called Fire Spy and consists of these sensors which are mounted on utility poles.
They're testing for temperature changes, humidity changes, looking for smoke in the air.
If fire conditions are detected, an automatic alert is sent to Anchorage Fire Dispatch.
And it has fire detected?
We can prevent it from becoming a larger incident, which is really what we're after.
We gotta move. Let's go, let's go. Come on. Everybody out. Let's go.
In Hawaii, where the charred scars of the Lahaina disaster are still fresh and apparent, a new AI alert system has been unveiled.
This thing could detect fire from 5 miles
away under some circumstances.
These sensors can detect heat and use artificial intelligence and smart learning to identify anomalies like smoke particles and gases produced by fires.
The air here is different. You have volcanic ash, you have other conditions. And what smart sensors like this will learn is what does the air feel like here? And what does an anomaly look like? What is a barbecue? What is a fire? What is something else? So you're not always getting false alarms.
In Arizona, utility companies are also using firefighting tech.
Wind speed, wind direction is on the left side as you're looking at it, and on the right-hand side is a rain gauge.
Here, Arizona Public Service has been installing weather stations and cameras on some of its power poles
to understand better what is happening on our circuits.
The system helps the company decide if they need to trigger a public safety power shutoff, or PSPS, to prevent a power line from starting a wildfire.
The data that we get from here, from these weather stations and cameras, will allow us to be very surgical about where those areas are for PSPS.
I put everything to God. It's like, I don't know. You got me choked.
Joe Rubino is an Arizona homeowner doing his own wildfire risk management. He watched bright orange flames from his deck become an inferno as the 2023 Diamond Fire in North Scottsdale grew to nearly 2,000 acres.
It was kind of terrifying in a way, like what's going to happen.
By looking at these homes covered in pink fire retardant, you can sense the fire was very close.
If we didn't keep that clean, it would keep going.
Rubino kept what's known as a defensible space behind his yard. It's something Scottsdale, Arizona Fire Captain Dave Folio says more people can do now to help save their properties.
You just got to eliminate these flash fuels that are on the ground and bring it 3-4 feet up off the ground, cutting back a lot of the limbs and branches that are on these trees.
Like literally a month ago, it was all about this tall.
For Joe Rubino, taking action can, and in his case, has proven to save what he's worked so hard for.
Anything people can do to prevent it saves on a whole lot of stress in all different ways.
From what was saved to what was not is a contrast no one should have to witness.
Especially for the people that lost their houses up there.
Back on the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation, Sheila Patton looks out at destruction. Missing are homes, cars, memories of what was taken so fast by flames.
I don't know, it's going to take time though, and with people's prayers.
When our camera crew talked to her, she had been staying at evacuation shelters and hotels, relying on donations.
I know a lot of people are praying, and I'm trying to pray myself too.
And trying, even when all appears lost, to realize
we're all together. That's the one thing that counts, you know. All my little family, I got 7 all together. At least we're together.
While the development of this new tech can be helpful to fight fires, if not properly used, it can get in the way. During several recent Arizona wildfires, crews have had to pause much-needed air support because of drones flying in the area.
Whatever's in the air at the time can't fly anymore until we can confirm that the drone's on the ground or it's out of the area. It could cause a crash, it could cause one of our planes to go down, it could cause a helicopter to go down.
The FAA says people caught flying a drone near a wildfire could face hefty fines of up to $20,000 or up to 12 months in prison.
Still to come, a sunscreen for streets that experts claim can help cities beat the heat.
That reflectiveness, it can help make the pavement feel cooler.
We investigate how a reflective coating on pavement could help lower surface temperatures.
But first, we uncover why some children in need of specialized care are sent hundreds of miles away from their families.
I want to take my baby and hug him.
Plus, why critics allege the system puts profit ahead of local patient care.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.
About 1 in 5 children in the U.S. have a mental, emotional, or behavioral disorder, such as anxiety, autism, or Tourette's syndrome. But many do not receive specialized care.
For some families, their only choice is to send their children out of state for the help they need. But child welfare experts say the distance could have an impact on their treatment.
Investigative reporter Sierra Cummings explains how a gap in resources could mean the kids who need help the most get it the least.
Hey, Alex, what are you doing?
At this home, the screen time for kids would be limited. Typically. But this is not a typical time, and Danielle's child,
that's my Bubba,
is not home.
Is that your Debbie?
The screen is the family's only means to see each other right now.
I see you got a big comfy jacket on, don't you, buddy?
Danielle is on a virtual visit with son Alex. It's been this way for the last year.
I want to take my baby and hug him and, it's...
Although 18 years old, the state of Georgia considers Alex a dependent child with high needs. He has severe autism. Being away from family complicates his behavior even more, his mom says.
What is it like interacting with him?
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. There's visits a lot that you can tell he's biting his nails, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he tries to get close to the screen and trying to come at mom.
Back in 2011, when Danielle served prison time for felony forgery, she gave guardianship of her special needs son to the grandmother. The grandmother died a year ago. That's when the state intervened. The agency tasked with child welfare, the Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services, or DFACS, decided Alex needed to be placed in a residential facility for behavioral health. The problem? The closest available one was hundreds of miles away, near Houston, Texas.
They said there was no placements in Georgia.
Court records show DFACS alleged Danielle was not an appropriate placement for the child. These texts reveal a caseworker told Danielle, quote, "No local placement available. We've been looking for several months." The Texas site was his only option.
They want the family involved, and I'm like, well, I can go on there and see him, but I'm 4 states away, and it's not like I can just up and walk out.
I hope that my words do not fall on deaf ears.
Advocates have sounded the alarm on stories similar to Alex's. A joint committee in the state legislature is now tackling the issue of high needs cases. It's all connected to the cost of care. Advocates allege the state's own residential facilities can make more profit when they take more out-of-state patients, kids coming to Georgia for help, which in turn leaves fewer residential facility options for kids who are already state residents, meaning local kids have to leave Georgia for help. Child welfare workers also cite the lack of specialized training and staff shortages in our state. Finally, experts blame the state's own insurance company, AmeriGroup, for failing to approve costly claims.
I personally reviewed and witnessed these extremely medically fragile children and youth being routinely and systematically denied medically necessary PRTF treatment. Regardless of the child's or youth's medical circumstances, they will all receive the exact same formulaic denial notice.
The dilemma devastating for families like Danielle's, whose parental aunt is helping, seeking custody of Alex.
And I love you.
At the very least, getting resources for him here in Georgia.
They are supposed to provide services and help to prevent the placement, and they failed to do that.
We're told DFACS did reach out to Alex's family, but they wouldn't talk specifics with us, citing privacy laws. Meanwhile, the state's insurance company, AmeriGroup, they pushed back against allegations that they deny costly insurance claims, saying they are committed to serving Georgians. In Atlanta, I'm Sierra Cummings.
Up next, cooling city streets, but is there a hidden price tag for pedestrians?
We compare the pros and cons of a reflective pavement being tested nationwide. You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. They're free to download. The The thought probably crosses your mind on a warm, sunny day. Wearing dark clothes will make you feel hotter.
Turns out dark colors absorb more heat and can turn up your temperature. That same science works on the dark colors of our buildings, roads, and parking lots. Because the materials retain more heat than natural landscapes, asphalt and concrete can easily reach 120 degrees Fahrenheit during the peak of summertime.
Since pavement covers a large portion of U.S. cities, it can contribute to higher temperatures during the day and less cooling at night, something called urban heat island effect. To combat this temperature surge, cities from Maryland to California are testing specialized roadways.
Reporter Kristen Crowley investigates whether cool pavements are making a difference.
Training classes today.
Oh, yeah.
On a scorching day in Tennessee,
Is that cheese on there?
customers lined up at this food truck
Gravy? No gravy.
and grabbed drinks with their usual lunch favorites in an attempt to stay cool.
The sodas and the bottled water and our own sweet tea is big sellers on the day also.
A high concentration of buildings and roads help fuel Nashville's status as an urban heat island. But just feet from that food truck, the city is testing a reflective coating on the blacktop in an effort to beat the heat. Nashville is just one of many cities across the country turning to what's known as cool pavement.
It almost acts like a sunscreen that we use when we go out, outdoors.
Amanda Valenzuela with Tucson's Department of Transportation in Arizona explains existing roads are sprayed with more reflective material that's lighter in color.
That reflectiveness, it can help make the pavement feel cooler.
Research has shown around 10 degrees cooler than uncoated pavement, but that's just the asphalt itself. The study found 6 feet off the ground, the air temperature was only 0.3 of a degree cooler during the day and only half a degree cooler at night. But Professor David Saylor, director of ASU's Urban Climate Research Center, says even that little bit can make a difference.
We say it as a success because even a half a degree Fahrenheit reduction in air temperatures can substantially reduce energy use for air conditioning and water use.
Saylor worked on the study and acknowledges another finding. While the cool pavement decreased the ground temperature, people walking on it felt as much as 5.5 degrees hotter because they absorbed the sunlight reflected off the road. Saylor called this a necessary trade-off.
That concern is easily outweighed by the benefits of the cooler air temperatures.
Since 2020, ASU researchers have worked with the city of Phoenix to test cool pavement.
Reducing the surface temperature, which is great for reducing our urban heat island effect.
Ryan Stevens, an engineer with the city's transportation department, says while there is still more research to be done, the option could quickly cover miles of asphalt.
Paved surfaces comprise about 40% potentially of our urbanized area. So there's a lot of area that we can address.
Cool pavement is about 3 times the price of the typical black coating. But Stevens says the roads getting the treatment needed to be sealed anyway.
It's not the solution to our urban heat issues, but we are confident that it will be beneficial for us in the future.
In Phoenix, the city discovered some issues with the pavement. In less than a year, some treated streets were less reflective, likely because of dirt that collected on it. The city says wear and tear is typical, and the lifespan of the seal coat is about 8 years.
Still ahead, no car, no problem.
Great exercise, a lot of fun, save a lot of money.
Meet the man braving Alaskan winters with a unique mode of transportation.
From coastlines to mountain ranges, Alaska is known for its breathtaking landscape.
The rough terrain and extreme climate can make it difficult to get around, but the obstacles are no match for one man on one wheel.
Reporter Dave Allgood shows us how the uncommon ride inspired him to take a new look at life.
It all started for Victor Neely out of necessity.
My car died in September a couple years ago,
So he hopped on social media.
Well, I bought one off Facebook Marketplace for $40, and it was just something that I'd never tried, so I wanted to give it a shot.
And although it wasn't easy,
I did not have any success for 2 or 3 months.
He kept at it, putting one foot in front of the other.
Great exercise, a lot of fun, save a lot of money. I don't care if I never drive again.
And when he's doing it on his way to and from work here in Eagle River, he has time to.
Gives you a nice chance to listen to music or get in your thoughts. Or admire the view.
You see, what Victor bought all those years ago was this, a unicycle.
This is my primary transportation.
That's right. Almost every day, Victor straddles his one-wheel vehicle for an 8-mile round trip to work here at Garcia's Cantina and Cafe.
Last year, for like winter and summer, Google Maps had me averaging over 200 miles a month.
Why all those extra miles?
So I've had to figure out all the different ways to get my laundry to the laundromat and my groceries in the store. And
he uses these sleds and trailers behind a unicycle. Oh, and sometimes that weight, it wins.
Oh, I know how to fall.
Land on your feet. So, as you can imagine, he's becoming somewhat of a cycle celebrity.
They say it's cool or, it's amazing.
What do your bosses say at work?
Don't be late.
Okay, let me remind you, he rides his unicycle year-round in the 49th state.
It's Alaska. It's not supposed to be easy.
Oh, and he's heard the jokes.
Oh, man, everyone's always got the where's your other wheel, and that's tired.
He gives it to...
I like your training wheel!
So what's the trick to getting on this thing?
This is kind of like leapfrogging your buddy while he's tying his shoe.
There are uniquely Alaska challenges.
I've had like 5 or 6 bear encounters.
How much leg strength does it take?
All of it.
But Victor says...
Never too tired.
Okay. Does the unicycle offer any metaphors for life?
I mean, life's all about balance. And, you guys keep moving forward.
So where there's a wheel...
It's like riding a bike.
There's a way.
It's a nice way to get around, though. I'd recommend it to anyone.
Victor says he logs about 15 hours a week on his unicycle. Can you imagine doing that like January or February in Alaska?
I can barely do that on 2 wheels, much less one.
Oh my gosh. Impressive though, right?
Absolutely. And the jokes, they were a plus.
They were good. They were good. All right, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching. On the next Investigate TV Plus, an invisible threat potentially filling warehouses nationwide.
Me and my wife, we sat down and we looked at each other and said, baby, they are now pausing all of you guys.
We investigate claims a company knew about a toxic gas that's been linked to cancer, then failed to protect its workers.